Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Right, let's get straight into it. The big news. All Blacks assistant coach Jason Holland is confirmed to be leaving at the end of the season. That leaves Scott Robertson with a really crucial role to fill. Everyone's watching, wondering who gets the nod to run the attack now.
Yeah, it's huge. This isn't just, shuffling the deck chairs. It's a massive piece for Robertson, especially as a new head coach needing some stability. Luckily, the sources we've looked at give us a pretty great list, actually, about 15 potential names. They range from, well, the logical domestic guys, the frontrunners, all the way through to some pretty improbable international shouts. So our job today, really, is to sift through all that speculation, figure out who Robertson should really be targeting, maybe even, go all out for.
Absolutely. And look, if you want to keep getting these quick deep dives, these insights into what's really going on behind the scenes in rugby, make sure you hit subscribe. Just search for the Rugby Obsession feed wherever you get your podcasts. You won't want to miss our follow-up when the decision is actually made. Okay, so the immediate situation. Holland's out after this season. Now, remember when Leon MacDonald left? Robertson decided not to bring in a direct replacement then. But this time, everything we're hearing suggests an appointment is, well, pretty much certain. They need a specialist attack coach. That seems clear.
Right. And the most logical place to start looking is probably domestically.
Yeah.
And that points us straight towards Roger Randall. He stands out, really, because he was the guy behind the Chiefs attack in 2025. And, well, most people agree they had the best attack in Super Rugby Pacific that year.
They were seriously dynamic, weren't they? Not just scoring, but how they scored. Yeah. What was it about Randall's approach that makes him such a strong candidate for Robertson, do you think?
Well, it seemed to be about the freedom he gave the players, especially the playmakers, and the speed of ball they generated. Randall really focused on transition attack, creating chances from turnover ball, unstructured situations. The Chiefs just flowed, didn't they? Sometimes destructive, always hard to predict. And that kind of style, well, it fits the All Blacks mold, doesn't it?
And the connections are already there.
Right.
That's a big plus. You look at the current All Black squad, loads of key Chiefs players. Cortez Radama, Damien McKenzie, Leonard Brown, Quintupia, Leroy Carter, Amoni Narawa, when he's fit. Bringing in the coach who already knows how to get the best out of that specific group. Domestically, that offers instant chemistry, you'd think. Why look elsewhere?
Well, that is the question, isn't it? Randall's great domestically, no doubt. But does Robertson risk bringing in another coach whose main success is at Super Rugby level, right after Holland, who maybe struggled a bit to make that step up to the test arena consistently? Is that potentially a risk?
That's a fair point, a really good counterpoint, actually, which leads us naturally to the internal options. We know Scott Hansen has already picked up some extra duty since MacDonald left. The talk around Hansen isn't necessarily about giving him the whole attack role, but maybe refining his focus, like giving him full control of attack and backs, letting him really specialize there, which of course would then mean bringing in a separate dedicated defense coach. It's about using the talent already inside the setup, maybe more effectively.
And if Robertson does look overseas, for someone with proven test match experience, our sources point pretty clearly towards Andrew Goodman. He's doing the backs for Ireland right now, and everyone knows how sharp their attack is. And crucially, he's not an unknown quantity for Robertson. They work together very closely at the Crusaders. They know each other well.
Yeah, the shared history is huge, isn't it? Goodman's Nelson-born, former center himself. He gets the culture. You'd think a top coach like him may be wanting a route back home eventually. Well, the All Blacks attack job would be a massive draw. It definitely lowers the transition risk compared to bring in someone completely new to the NZ system.
Exactly. They speak the same language coaching-wise. That's vital when you're under pressure to integrate quickly.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit, moving away from those sort of clearer front runners. Now we get into the in the mix category, and this is where we find, well, the magnificent problem, as some call him. Joe Schmidt. I mean, let's be honest. Pure coaching quality. Tactical brain, proven success at the highest level. You probably won't find better anywhere in the world right now. And technically, he's available. His Rugby Australia contract is up next July.
But this is where it gets tricky, really political. Schmidt's CV is, well, it's basically untouchable. He helped the All Blacks out in 2022, massively important in that run to the World Cup final in 23. The problem isn't his coaching ability. It's the history, the conflict.
Yeah, it's awkward, isn't it? That whole situation during the search for Ian Foster's replacement, the job Robertson got. Reports were that Schmidt, behind the scenes, questioned Robertson's integrity, his suitability for the top job. That's pretty fundamental.
Yeah.
even if it wasn't public.
Exactly. And look, both coaches have said the right thing since, no issues, they could work together, but you have to wonder, don't you, is there still some underlying reluctance there from both sides? Bringing Schmidt in gives you tactical genius, absolutely, but it could also introduce a massive fault line right into the coaching team's core. And Robertson just can't afford a coach who might even subconsciously question his leadership right from the start.
You're spot on. You just can't kick off a news cycle with that kind of potential tension bubbling under the surface. That level of risk, even with his talent, probably forces Robertson to seriously consider the other options in this tier. And that brings David Hill into the picture.
Hill's the obvious alternative here. He's already in the system working with the All Blacks XV group. He's leading their attack right now.
And his tryout is happening as we speak, essentially. The upcoming November matches for that All Blacks XV, our sources say that's basically a useful audition for him, a chance to show what his attacking systems look like under that national spotlight. If he gets that team firing, his stocks could rise very, very quickly.
So you see this mix, right? You've got the domestic connection with Randall, the international pedigree with Goodman, and then this high-risk, high-reward genius option in Schmidt. It's what makes this whole All Blacks coaching world so captivating. So for you listening, you really need to weigh that up. The need for stability versus the maybe desperate need for tactical brilliance. Who should Robertson actually prioritize? What do you think? And just a reminder, if you're finding this interesting, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession to stay across all these developments.
Okay, moving on. Let's quickly cover the outside bets and the wildcards. First, those other domestic names, James Marshall at the Crusaders, Brad Cooper at the Hurricanes, Corey Brown at the Highlanders, and yeah, he's Tony Brown's brother, which is interesting, and Jason O'Halloran at the Blues.
Right, well, O'Halloran, probably not. The Blues attack really didn't fire in 2025, did it? That hurts his chances. Marshall and Cooper, they show promise, definitely. Marshall especially, given the Crusaders connection. But appointing either would still feel like a surprise, wouldn't it, given the bigger names we've already talked about.
But hang on, let's just pause on Corey Brown. You mentioned he's Tony Brown's brother. Is that just trivia, or does the fact his brother is arguably the most wanted coach on this list, we'll get to him, make Corey a potential, placeholder, or maybe even a rival? What do the sources say?
It definitely adds a bit of spice, yeah. The sources don't explicitly mention rivalry or anything like that. Corey's experience is just seen as less extensive right now. He hasn't had that big headline success yet to really jump the queue. He's on the list more for, completeness, the family pedigree. But yeah, maybe if Robertson strikes out on the top guy, someone like Corey Brown, well, he has the Brown DNA, perhaps without the same political baggage as trying to get Tony. It's a thought.
Okay, interesting. Now, the high-profile wildcards, the ones whose appointment would genuinely raise eyebrows. We have to start with Brad Moore. His return would be, well, astonishing, given the history there.
Politically radioactive is probably the term, yeah. Moore, remember, along with John Plumtree, was essentially let go by the players back in 2022. That wasn't just the board making a change, that was the dressing room saying no. It's incredibly hard to see how those same senior players would welcome him back into the fold now. Regardless of his skills or how much time has passed, that seems unlikely.
Then there's the legend, Wayne Smith, the professor, the guru. He's already got a role with NZR, doesn't he? It's a sort of high-level advisory thing, spends time with the squad.
Exactly, and that's probably why a full-time appointment is unlikely. You just get the feeling Smith doesn't want that full-on frontline coaching grind anymore. The travel, the day-to-day pressure. He seems happy being the wise counsel, the problem solver, not necessarily the guy running the attack sessions week in, week out.
Okay, what about the big international name in this wildcard group? Ronan O'Gara, the Irish legend. Yeah. He's always said he wants a top international head coach job, right?
He has, yeah. But look, being the All Blacks assistant coach, specifically running the attack, that's still one of the biggest coaching jobs in world rugby. It's incredibly attractive. It's seen as not completely impossible, mainly because he coached under Robertson before at the Crusaders. So that history, that trust, it exists. It makes him a potential left field option if maybe the other main targets don't work out.
Right. Speaking of main targets, our sources seem pretty united on this one. The guy NZR should ultimately go all out for.
Yeah.
And that name is Tony Brown.
Yep. He comes up again and again as the premier attack coach, the guru, the guy whose systems just deliver clarity, innovation, ruthless execution. The recommendation for him is so strong, partly because he's doing such a superb job with the Springboks right now. Right. That just underlines his quality. He's seen as the gold standard, the kind of attacking brain the All Blacks really need.
The problem, though, is massive, isn't it? Actually getting him, prizing him away from South Africa. That seems incredibly difficult, especially now he's settled in there.
And there's history here, too, repeating itself. Brown turned Robertson down before, didn't he? Cited loyalty to Jamie Joseph at the time. So Robertson would need to put together an absolutely huge offer, not just money, but convince Brown that this time the fit is perfect, the project is compelling enough to leave the current world champions. That's a huge ask.
Okay, let's wrap up with the surely not list. Two names that just seem highly improbable because of the conflict risk. Let's start with Leon MacDonald.
Bringing MacDonald back, yeah, that seems, well, borderline ridiculous, as one source put it. Robertson and MacDonald reportedly clashed. That was a big reason MacDonald left in the first place. So reappointing him, you're just inviting the exact same friction back into the setup. Instability from day one. They need cohesion now, not reruns of old issues.
And the same logic applies to Dave Rennie, doesn't it? He's coaching in Japan. Maybe tempted by an international return, sure. But you get the sense he'd only come back as the main man, the head honcho.
Exactly. So the worry there, just like with MacDonald, is creating another big personality clash, another power struggle. New Zealand Rugby just can't afford that right now. They need a smooth, stable transition under Robertson.
What really strikes me, though, looking at this whole list, despite the politics and the history, is the sheer depth of coaching talent available to Robertson. It's actually quite impressive.
It really is. You go from proven geniuses like Schmidt to consistent domestic performers like Randall to exciting outside bets like O'Gara or the absolute dream signing of Tony Brown. The positive side of this whole situation is that the talent pool is deep. Robertson has real options. His final choice won't just be about skill, it'll be about finding the right chemistry.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Finding someone who stabilizes that coaching room, who delivers a world-class modern attack, but crucially, does it without creating new conflicts or political headaches. It's maybe less about finding the single best coach in isolation and more about finding the best fit for Robertson, for his system, for his personality.
Synergy. That's the key word, I think. Synergy above everything else. Because the person he picks now, that appointment will shape the All Blacks' attacking identity for this whole World Cup cycle. It's a legacy decision.
So, thinking about all these names, all 15 of them, which one do you think Robertson should pull out all the stops for? Knowing all the risks, the politics, the potential rewards. Who is the must-get appointment in your eyes? We'd love to hear your thoughts on who you think fits best. And remember, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession so you don't miss our analysis when the final decision drops. Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.